Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm excited about networking with everybody out there. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Now, I know that it is Friday, but you have to get ready because extensions are going to be coming due very soon. I have with me Anna Von Straussenburg, and she's the owner of Anna Von Straussenburg CPA. Welcome back to the show. You have been on my show for years. We're talking 5 years. We're going into that. And I thank you for supporting me and being on the show, being a sponsor, and all the things that you've done. But I really think that it's important for people to understand why it's so important for people to learn a little bit about you and what you do and why they should hire a CPA.
Well, hi, Carol. It's a delight to be on the show as always. And, well, I actually got into being a CPA, I call it through the back door, because I actually had taken some courses to become a teacher and then realized that teachers didn't make any money. And my ex-husband suggested I go back to school and get a job in an accounting firm, and so that's what I did. And so while I worked, I went to school. And I'll tell you, for a few years I had no life, but it was well worth it, because you know what, when I started taking the accounting courses, I like, this is what I was meant to do. And I love what I do, and I think since I love what I do, I think that's what makes me better. I'm just such a nerd about numbers, and I'm not afraid to say it, you know?
You said it, not
It
me.
used to be a derogatory term to me, and now I own it, because my tagline on my advertising is excellence and integrity in accounting, because that's what I strive to do. I strive to be excellent. And, well, integrity, I am all about ethics. I cannot tell a lie to save my life. You know, I hope it never comes down to that, but, you know, that's how I am.
Well,
I'm very honest to a fault.
Can I say a couple of different things about you
Okay.
too? First of all, Anna is all about numbers. She's all about doing the right thing for you. She guarantees her work. You make people love their numbers because you help them along the way, and it's so important. Why is it so important that people understand their numbers?
Well, for business people, it's really important to understand how much money not just how much money you're making, but how many expenses you have, how much of a profit. And a lot of businesses do more than one thing. So where are you making your best money? Where do you have potential for growth? Do you want to plan on purchasing new assets because you want to, get some deductions so that you don't pay too much in taxes? So there's all kinds of reasons for really knowing your numbers.
Now, her phone number to call is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She's rated with a Better Business Bureau. She does second opinions, which is very important that people do that. How often have you saved people some money on when they've tried to do it on their own?
I would say 99% of the time.
Again, that number to call her is 480-964-4030 or 480-964-4030. I want to talk a little bit about something that when we came on, we were talking about this, and you got asked a question that you said was a great question that somebody asked you, and what was it?
Well, I got asked the question, hey, are you afraid that AI is going to replace accountants? And I said, absolutely not. And the reason I said that is I use some very specific and very powerful tax software, and I try to use the best in the industry, but yet it still takes a human to look at it and correct the errors. And I believe that there's always going to be some kind of human intervention, because even some of the programs I use AI to some extent, and I was shocked at how many mistakes it made.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Anna, because you are so meticulous and you see the mistakes that people make, even AI.
Yes, even AI. And the thing is in tax law, it's not always all black and white. There's a lot of gray areas, and you have to make a judgment call of what is appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Well, we were talking a little bit about AI, and before you came on, one of the things that you also wanted to talk about was identity theft. And when you talk about AI, boy, does that go right into that.
Yeah, I had a client, who, had actually did what I'd like to do, which is, pulled a wage and income transcript from the IRS and saw on there that there was a couple strange W-2s, and she'd also got notified that somebody had tried to file a fraudulent tax return. And so we helped her fill out the forms, cause there's a special form that has to be filled out and sent into the IRS, plus they ask that you also report it with the, the Secretary of State in your given state, that, so that they can pursue it legally. So it's very important to report it correctly, and what they will do is they will give you what they call an IP PIN, which is a special identity protection PIN number, different from some of the PIN numbers if you electronically file, they make you do a PIN number there, but this is a different one. And so I think it's got 6 digits versus the regular one is only 5, so it's an extra digit, and the IRS will, or should, provide that to you. Sometimes it doesn't get, I had one client who had their identity stolen back in 2014, and the man gets his all the time. It was a couple, both had theirs stolen, and she never gets hers, and they've tried to go online. But you can, if you want to be proactive, you can go online and get that number as well. And some people have voluntarily gotten it, but the thing to remember is every January you gotta watch your mail or something from the IRS, because it's that PIN number, and we cannot electronically file the return without that. And if we don't have it, then we have to go through the old-fashioned paper file.
And if you lose it, it's not a good thing. So in January, when you get those letters from the IRS, don't throw them out.
Don't throw them out, put them with your tax documents.
She's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. You can call her at 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. She does second opinions. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can check it out on her website, which is Arizona CPAs with an S.com. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit about the big, beautiful bill, and there's gonna be a lot of changes, folks, and part of it is from there. There's a lot of different things that are gonna be some big changes that are gonna come up, and you're gonna wanna know about them, and that is the other reason why to use someone like Anna, because she's on top of it. How many courses do you take?
Well, I am required to take 40 hours a year of continuing education. I usually take on average about 60 hours a year.
That's Anna.
Yeah, and so I've got something lined up for next week.
Now, we're gonna go to a break. When we're gonna come back, we're gonna talk further. And this is what I love about the show, is that it has so much information for people out there. Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know. We know that the extensions are around the corner. They're due when?
They're due September 15th for S corporations and partnerships, and October 15th for individuals.
So we're gonna come back and talk about a lot of other different things that are gonna be important for everybody to know. Our number here is, her number direct is 602, I'm sorry, we're giving the station's number, 480-964-4030, that's 480-964-4030. We're still live in here.
When did we say I was gonna be on the show again?
In August, right?
Yeah, I think you said the 8th.
I said the 6th.
6th, okay.
Do you want me to say that?
Yep. Oh, I know, let me say it.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I wanted to know.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it here really big, okay?
All right.
I think what has happened to the world of, in general, I'm gonna say it this way, is that, how you like complicated returns?
Mm-hmm.
I think everything now has become so complicated.
Yeah.
It's made your world, you even love it more.
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah,
I would think so. Because there's so many things.
Yeah.
And I think also people need to understand that you don't need to be a big business to have
Yeah,
a CPA.
yeah.
A lot of people think you have to have a lot of money, a big business, but that's not the case.
No.
You like to work with small, medium, all size businesses.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about what you do?
My favorite thing is when I can resolve an issue with an IRS and to the client's benefit. I think that just gives me, a big thrill.
I love that.
And I love being able to call them and say, hey, I resolved your problem. And
They must love you for that, yeah.
So, I know I'm working on one where I don't know what went wrong with the state of Arizona, but I have a client that's got a problem. They say he owes and he was due a refund and he got the refund he was due, so we don't understand why they're asking for money for that year.
The same amount that he got.
No, actually a little less than what he got back, and we think maybe they didn't give him credit for some of his withholding, so I'm gonna have to send a letter. And unfortunately, he was married then, and now he's not. So, it makes it a little more complicated, because I don't have the spouse to sign off on, and I don't know if
Well,
he
why
even-
can't the spouse still find, if they're not married, but they were married then, right?
Yeah,
She can't, is she not in the state?
well, I don't know if he knows where she is. He hasn't been in
Oh.
touch with her this is an issue from 2019, which is really weird, because it's past the statute of limitations, so normally that wouldn't be a thing. It's very odd. But
Is
he
there,
called.
is there a, statute of limitations for people who don't pay their taxes?
Yeah, there is. It's about 10 years.
Oh, okay,
But they
I didn't
must
know
have
they had
they
that.
must have filed, and, yeah.
wow. So welcome back. During the break, we always talk to Facebook land in here, which is so
Yeah.
much fun. And I learned so much more. And you can learn from Anna all day long, because there's something to talk, especially when it comes to taxes. And, Anna, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about something when you come back, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, I wanna say, hey, stay tuned, tune in again, I should say, on August 6th, because next week I am taking a course on the One Big Beautiful Bill. So, they've got an acronym for it, it's OBBB, and, accountants love acronyms for some reason, but anyway, yeah, I'm taking a course on it because I realize this is something I need to learn about, and so that's
I
why
can't
I'm
believe
saying.
they've already got a course
They've
on
already
it.
got a course on it, they've been talking about it in my accountants groups, cause I belong to a group from the Arizona Society of CPAs, and they have groups that chat online, so, if I don't know something, there's a chance that there's somebody else out there in the accounting community that might know, or at least steer me in the right direction, and that's a really good thing to have, I feel like it's a nice support system, and so when I know the answer to something, I answer their questions, so that, they don't feel like it's just a one-way street, so.
Now, that's gonna be some big changes there, that you're gonna be learning a lot. And again, she's saying, tune in on August 6th, and you're gonna hear all about what she learned about. But there's also the task force that made some changes as well.
Well, as a result of it, they have a task force that is being funded, I believe they said $15 million, and they are gonna research some of the new tax provisions and some of the streamlining that they plan to do for e-filing and direct filing and for partnerships. There's a lot of things that they wanna do, research and try to make things run smoother with the tax filing, so.
Now, I'm gonna talk about this, I know we talked about it, when we were off air.
Out there.
And I wanted to talk about how the fact that the kind of businesses that you work with, because a lot of people, when you hear CPA, they think they need to have this big business, and they don't, and how you like, the kind of people you like to work with. I mean, you'll work with big, small, medium, everything.
Yeah, and it's really important if it's better for people to start off on the right foot and do things correctly, rather than waiting. I had a client, unfortunately, you know, she waited for over a year to start doing any of her bookkeeping, and so she was back a year and hadn't filed a tax return. And it was a lot of mess to clean up, and they were unhappy because they had to pay so much, and it wouldn't have been so bad if they'd come early on and, you know, had us teach them and had us do, you know, some of the cleanup work for them gradually rather than all at once.
You know, can I just say, I'm gonna say this, we've talked about it before. My daughter, she's on Broadway, that's her thing, but she's her own, she's self-proprietor, right?
Yeah.
And, I remember when it was gonna be tax season, and I said, you know, you ought to call Anna, because you really do have a complicated return. And also, my other daughter probably will also be calling, because she also has now, she's a teacher, and it's become a little bit complicated, which
Yeah.
you absolutely love complicated returns. But, you know, I mean, she doesn't have this big, huge business, but she needed you, and boy, oh boy, she was very happy that she did.
Yeah, because there were different things that she hadn't thought to deduct. You know, she travels a lot back and forth to auditions, and sometimes it requires going out of the state and staying in hotels and meals and other things that she hadn't even thought to deduct. And I said, well, wait a minute, when you go on these auditions, where are you staying? Are you staying with a friend? Or, no, I stayed at a hotel. And I said, well, did you eat anything? You know, oh, of course I ate, you know, I'm like, because she had given me a list of her expenses and those weren't on it. And she knew some things from her other, you know, there are times when, you know, things that aren't normally deductible for most people in businesses, well, there's exceptions. Every rule, there's exceptions. And for people who are actors, well, there are times when they have to show up to an audition looking just like their headshot. So they've got to go get their hair done so that they look exactly like their headshot. Sometimes, you know, they're required to provide some of their own makeup, and which I was surprised, but I've learned a lot about it, just, you know, listening to people in the industry, and that sometimes they have to go in with some of their own makeup on. If they're just, you know, a walk-on extra on the show, well, they're not gonna send the makeup artist to make them
Well,
up,
the
so.
point is being that you don't know
Yeah.
what you don't know. How many times we say
you
that
don't know
on the
what
show?
you don't know. And so, and it's funny because I'd actually in the past had done taxes for a married couple. He was a stunt guy and she was a makeup artist. And oh boy, the amount of makeup, the amount she spent, because she spent thousands of dollars on hair extensions, not for herself, but for her actress clients, because, you know, they had to, you know, one day have long hair and next shoot they're having short hair, so, you know.
There's a lot of people out there too that now are having more than one job.
Oh, yeah, and that makes it more complicated. It makes it tricky. I just counseled a client of mine who actually recently retired from the Phoenix PD, wonderful lady. So she's getting her retirement. Actually, the prior year she got retirement and wages because she worked for part of the year, and she was working for the Mesa Community College, and she had another little job, and she had all these W-2s and wondered why she was underwithheld. And I said, well, the problem was if you add all this together, it adds up a lot, but each individual one, they're withholding as if that's your only job. So we had to help her calculate what to withhold so she won't be underwithheld.
See, this is the reason why you want to give Anna a call. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. She does free consultations. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. She works statewide, and she does second opinions. You could check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com. Let's go into the one last thing. I wasn't sure if we were going to make it, but I think we are today, that there's a lot of people too out there that put their heads in the sand when it comes to doing their taxes.
Yeah, and I have the ability to do back taxes for several years. And, you know, so that's important. If you haven't done your taxes, it's important to get with somebody like me, because what I first do is get a power of attorney so I can talk to the IRS and to the state and get the, government on your side. I work with them and say, hey, what do you want from this taxpayer? I just wanna let you know, we are working to prepare the returns, so can you put a hold on any collections, penalties? And they often will do that. They will often at least hold off on collections, and then at the end of the day, I can get them to waive some of the penalties, say, well, this person had a hardship, they had a death in the family, or whatever happened that caused them to not file. And, you know, I remember my brother used to make his finger go back and forth, and he says, well, this is the violins playing. Well, I like to make the violins play.
I love
When I
that.
talk to the IRS, I make the person sound like they're the saddest person on the planet. So, anyway, because everybody's got a story, so.
You know, and it is so true. But the other thing is that you know how to talk to them. Please don't do it on your own. A lot of people try to do that, and you really talk too much. You get yourself into further trouble than you probably already are. And you don't know. Again, I'll say it again. You just don't know what you don't know, and that's why to call Anna. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's so important, because when you're talking to the IRS, you're emotional because it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not emotional about it. It's not my money. And so when you get emotional, you may yell at them, you may get upset, you may say things that are wrong, and the deal is you gotta get them on your side. And it's the same thing. I know financial advisors say, well, you know, a lot of financial advisors I know have somebody else do their financial planning because you're emotional about your own finances.
Please don't do it on your own. There's no reason why you should, because when you hear people like Anna, who's here for you to help you, that is what she does. That's what she loves to do. I mean, that's what she said earlier. You love what you do, and that's probably what makes her really good at it, because she loves it so much. Again, everybody has a different story. Everybody has something different that's going on. You do not have to have a large business in order to work with her. She loves small, medium-sized, even sole proprietors. I'll get it out.
Yeah, and you know what, I kind of adopt my clients. I get to know them really well, and you know, when they have a problem, I make it my problem.
Her phone number again, it's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. You're gonna love her. The website is ArizonaCPAs with an S.com.